situation, and that's what it's all about. Why can't we talk it out and say what's on our mind? Situations keep getting in the way. There's so much we need to say, but we're running out. I'm grateful today. I'm grateful today. I'm grateful today.
Hi everybody, Jen Dial here with another creative conversation. And today, what I thought I'd do is we're gonna do a Thanksgiving wreath, okay? This is the wreath that I've been working on. So if you remember from the last time, I did a Halloween wreath and I did it from scratch. This one, I actually, we did it from scratch and then I made the first one and then finished the second one up. So with that one, you saw me just going as, just creating it, making it as I went and for the design, and then I went ahead and made the second one. For this one, I went ahead and made it first. It's a little bit more intricate, has a little bit more to it than the Halloween one. And I wanted to make sure that I had the placement that I wanted and the idea in my head before I actually started working on it. I used hot glue this time, and you can tell by my burned fingers that I have used hot glue and some wire. So some of the elements that I have on this wreath, I actually took from my Halloween shopping spree, and some of the elements I actually used for Halloween, and I'm reusing them again. I don't know if you all saw our Halloween show. You should have our Having Fun with J&J. Jeanette and I dressed up like scarecrows, and so we did I did a lot of flowers on my hat, and I had this little guy. I had two little guys like this. They're little birds, little blackbirds, and so I took him off my hat, and he's going to be the part of the bow grouping that I've done here. This is a twig wreath. We're going to use a twig wreath again this time. I like twig wreaths. They're, when you're doing this time of year, it kind of adds to the ambience of the wreath. And I like it because you can wire it easy. And styrofoam sometimes, you know, it gets, if you make a hole in it, unless you're using a floral block, sometimes it gets hard. If you blow it, and you end up having to get another piece. So I'm sticking with the twig wreath right now. I also want to remind you that this wreath is not for sale. I don't sell wreaths. There are so many wonderful wreath makers out there. They have wonderful businesses. They do fabulous, fabulous jobs. And so if you're not quite up to making a wreath, or sometimes I'm just not up to it, please call them and support their business. But for me this time, I thought I would go ahead, since I'm in the wreath making mood, I'm gonna go ahead and put a wreath together. And I try to watch my costs a little bit. So again, I'm reusing a lot of the elements that I'm putting on this wreath. I also waited for the twig wreaths to go on sale at Michael's. And the bows, remember we talked about sometimes you don't really get which one if you wait till the end. So I did wait to the end. I had to really kind of think about what I wanted to do. I think I dropped something off the wreath that I'll have to put back. Hold on. It happens. So you want to make sure when you're done with the wreath that all the parts are actually put together. So I'll put this little guy back when I'm ready to hang it. So about the bow, the last time I did the wreath for Halloween, I actually bought a bow. It was already made. It was already on sale. But by the time I got to Michael's, they were all gone. So it was really been hard to find harvest type ribbon because the Christmas was already out. And so I had to go back and figure out what I wanted to do. So I found this adorable gingham. It's like a burnt orange gingham with a mustard yellow back. And I will show you all how I made my own bow. I'll probably say this again as I'm making the bow, but it's really much easier if you get the wired ribbon, because when you make the bow, it gives it a little bit more sturdiness to the bow so it doesn't collapse, and you can work the bow in any way that you want to. So this was the final project. If you see this ribbon hanging behind, I'll show you what I did. I actually made a hanger for it instead of just hanging it from the back. I was having a little bit of issues on my front window hanging the wreath. They weren't being secure. So I thought it would be cute if I added a very long ribbon from the top of the wood, because I don't really have wood mullions in between my glass panes. They're metal, so you have to use the suction, and with the weather and everything, Texas, it gets so humid here. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach a nail, a little peg up at the top of the wood part, and it's gonna hang down about 16 inches from that into the middle of the window, okay? So I hope you hang with me here. We're going to put this together, and hopefully we will come up with something that's just as similar and they look very good next to each other, okay? So hang in there. The next time you see me, we're gonna start working on our wreath. Thanks. Hi everybody, I'm back. I'm down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start placing some of these little silks in positions that I want. I'm gonna, you can't see it a little bit, but I'm gonna switch the camera over off to the side. You'll see I have the other wreath hanging right there, next to my purse, of course. So I can keep an eye on how I'm going to be placing, the camera's a little crooked, how I'm gonna be placing all of my little pieces here. I did wanna show you a couple of things. If you haven't worked with silks before, if you've worked with real flowers, see if I can put you up here. If you have worked with real flowers before, you'll notice a big difference between working with real flowers and silks, okay? Real flowers can be much harder, to be honest with you, because if there's an imperfection or like one stem isn't behaving, you only get a few chances with it. And it costs so much more to ruin a dozen roses than it does for the silks. What I try to do, you can buy them by the stem, but sometimes it's a little less expensive to buy them in the bunch. Okay, so these bunches were like $5.99, but I got them on sale, half price. Some of them were actually 60% off. So some of the things you may not, some of the elements you may not use, but it's still sometimes less expensive to buy them this way than to buy them a stem at a time. So I just wanted to show you. So what I usually do is just clip the big wire cutters. I use wire cutters, and just clip the elements off of the big stem and throw that away. So, and the other trick I have is, so we do this in florals all the time. So if you have a flower, usually we strip the roses and don't use the leaves, but we do something called greening if we're doing something like a centerpiece. So you'll take the greening, whatever you're using, lemon leaf or fern, whatever you're using to green, and you'll take them off of the actual stem and just use a bit of it. So these have a couple of elements. So some you might want to just slide up so that you have a fuller bunch like this. And then some you might just want to use the leaves that you really don't want to use, like a pumpkin element or a little, these are like beads, but they could be like, kind of like fake fruit type of thing. But you can always move these up or take these off, just depending on how full you want something to look. So what I did was, I can see that I used some of these beautiful leaves with the pumpkins for greening. And again, these all have wire in them, so you can kind of stick them in where you want them, so that you can start building up your leaves and all of your greening. So this one doesn't have anything, so I'm just gonna keep clipping away and kind of stick them in there where I want them. And you gotta kind of see which is gonna be your bottom. And I've decided this twig is actually a little bit off, so I might have to stretch the flowers a little bit so it looks a little bit fuller. This guy I have coming down like this. I'm watching where I'm putting my pumpkins here. And so I'm gonna go through the whole thing and just keep adding elements as I go. But I'm also gonna try to make sure that they're matching what I'm doing here, okay? So I'm technically doing what's called greening. So if you're using real flowers or real greens, during the Christmas time, we use a lot of eucalyptus. But summertime, I mean autumn and spring, you don't use use eucalyptus in Christmas. You also use like pine and a lot of the, the Christmassy garland type things. But autumn, you're gonna lose mostly leaves and berries, that kind of thing. Just think pumpkin. So we're gonna kind of just keep putting these little things in here. And I also got some leaves that were kind of white to kind of give it a pop. So when you're doing this, you don't want to put like the white with the white. I mean, look, you design any way you want to design, but I always like to mix it up a little bit so that you have a good visual when you look at a design. So I kind of have the white and the green mixed up a little bit here. This one's cute. It's got a little, you can see it, it's got a little pine cone. Very, very, very autumny, Thanksgiving-y. So we're gonna see where I had stuck that. Usually it's the larger elements that people are gonna notice. So I'm gonna be putting my bow down here, and the top is gonna be a little fuller. So while I'm looking at this, I'm gonna place these because I know where I'm gonna put them. So the other thing is that when you have two wreaths that are next to each other, you're either gonna want to put them mirror or you're gonna put them exactly the same. So I think I'm going to do exactly the same, makes it easier. So here is where I had actually placed, actually I think this one's better, it's a little bigger. And I'm gonna glue these on. So because I'm gonna glue them, I'm gonna take the stem and I'm gonna cut it shorter because it's just easier to glue it and it'll lay flatter on the wreath. I don't really need to have any wire at all. And I will tell you, if you mess up and you cut the stem too short and you're gonna wire it, you're gonna have to wire it because you made a mistake. It's okay, that no one's gonna know. So the other one is gonna be here and the bow is gonna be here, okay? And this little guy, he's gonna be snuggled up to, where's my other little flower here? Like this. So this is gonna kind of be placed like that, okay? And then I have, I'll find it in a minute. I have another little one that's gonna go right above the bow to come center where the little bird is. I thought these were so adorable. It's a little mushroom. And we're gonna stick him right down here. I'm gonna turn this a little bit. And we're gonna stick him right here. like that. Okay, so you always want to you're going to move these around, and when you're going to start placing them. This is something different than what I did before. It's just a little bit more intricate. And the other one was just a little bit easier because it was just the same. But I'm going to get my other mushroom. Hold on, some of these things are just really not cooperating sometimes. Okay, so where's my other mushroom? Here he is. So I'm going to put another mushroom up at this top. It happens. I'm telling you guys, I burned my finger so bad. I've done it so many times, you'd think I'd quit being silly, but I was working on these things. So these came off of the wreath that fell and broke, and they're little wood chips, little wood swirls, and they're on picks because the wreath was actually on styrofoam. So I thought those would really be cool for me to put as little accents in my wreath. And when I was making the first one, I did not pay attention, and when I glued it, it actually came down into, because this is hollow, can you see? So the glue came down into here, and it dripped all over my fingers, and yes, I got burned to smithereens. So I was quite upset because I couldn't finish this. I had to do this another day, and I really didn't like that. So enough with my medical issues. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick the mushroom guy in here. And you can fuss with the leaves as you start, when we start wiring it in. But when you're working with a twig, it's easier because it at least stays still and you can move it, unlike a styrofoam. If you take it out of a styrofoam once you've inserted your element, sometimes you can't it won't stay because the styrofoam will break apart. So this way it gives me a little bit of more gumption there, and gives me a little bit of room to be able to move things around. Now, I'm a girl that likes a lot of stuff. I always have. I've always liked to have things really full and voluptuous. I love that word, voluptuous. So you don't have to ever, like whenever you're designing, you design for you. Unless you have a client that says specifically, this is what I want, you go girl or go guy. You do what makes you happy and what makes you feel good. But I'm always, that's why I'm kind of probably not the best person for making things to sell. I mean, I used to, but I always got myself in trouble because you have to watch your costs. It's just part of doing business. And designers have a habit of not paying attention to that, and that's really, really important. So it looks like I have 1, 2 pumpkins. I actually could probably add another pumpkin to this, which I'm probably going to. Yeah, I saw that. I just saw a bare spot, and I'm thinking, I could do another pumpkin there. So let's see how many pumpkins I have. I have 2 orange ones. Then I have a white one and another white one. So I have 2 more. So I could actually add like a white one here with that pumpkin, and then I will add one here and be able to do the reverse with the other one. Okay. All right. And let's see what else I have. Oh, I have these very cool. I'm gonna go off camera for a second here. So these came off the Halloween stuff I made for the Having Fun with J&J show. And I like the contrast. It just gives it a little bit of pop. Because the leaves I've got the green leaf here and then the orange. Isn't that a beautiful color? It's so pretty. And so when you stick that in between, you just see that little bit of pop there. And it's so awesome. I'm gonna put this somewhere else too. This is gonna go over by, now see, you don't need all this, but see, you just slide this puppy up like that. And there's a little stamen here. We call those stamens. And well, in floral world, you call that a stamen in the middle of the flower, but I don't know what they call it, but we're gonna call it a stamen. And then I'm gonna trim it. And so that kind of went up by him, by the mushroom. Okay. And as long as you have the main elements on the wreath, if it's not exact, don't panic. Okay? It's not important. That going on right there. Okay. It's not important. No one's gonna notice but you. Okay? And most people don't have a discerning eye, and they just see it all and it looks great to them. So the big elements are the important ones that are kind of where you want them to be placed. And then the other ones will come, all right? So let's see what we got going on here. Sorry, I know I'm singing Christmas songs. Not too many Thanksgiving songs, right? It's just like the Gather Together one. I think that's the only one that we have. Okay. So I'm gonna keep placing this all around, getting everybody set in motion. Keep adding elements as I go. I like this one here. And you know, when I hung, now see, let me show you something here. These leaves are pretty much the same. Can you see? It's hard to see, but these are kind of the same. So I don't want to make the mistake of not breaking that up. You don't want to like just keep, unless that's what you planned. But I want to get a little bit of contrast in here. So I'm going to use this because I also want to see that mushroom. Okay? And then this has a very cool little bead in here. And I'm going to stick this up around here. Now, there are some people that do the exact same thing on their wreaths, and that's fine. Again, you guys can just decide which way you want the wind to blow and make it happen. I'm a little freewheeler, so sometimes I like to see just a little bit of country here. And I'm trying to figure out where I put this one the last time. So you can also bend the leaves back, tuck them up behind so that they become kind of the back splash or the background for your other elements. But leaves also provide volume, okay? And they're great fillers, you know. So this leaf came off of one of the flowers. I'm not going to use it because it's too green, but I will save it because you never know what you're going to make, all right? You just never know. This one has, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to make a bow. Okay?
I'm grateful today. La-da-da-da. I'm grateful today. situation, and that's what it's all about. Why can't we talk it out and say what's on our mind? Situations keep getting in the way. There's so much we need to say, but we're running out.